Good morning, guys. Just want to welcome you to the Google Search Appliance webinar with Fronde and Google Enterprise. Just want to say good effort, guys. I know it's 9 o'clock on a Friday morning here in Sydney, and it's very close to Christmas. So props for all of you guys, all of you for actually being on the call. We're really excited to present the information that we're about to show you. And before I do that, I just wanted to ask you guys two questions, really. How many of you wish that it was easier to find what you need at work? And how many of you believe you would be more productive if you had the information that you need at the right place, at the right time, and being able to collaborate with the right people? Well, my name is Kresant Mahilail from Fronde. I am the account manager, client executive here at Fronde. So um, I just want to acknowledge you once again for showing up. And before we get started, I wanted to let you know a bit of the housekeeping that we're doing. Basically, we've muted all of you. We will be having all questions at the end. And for comments, we do encourage you to use, comment and as much as possible, because then we can answer your questions as well. But we will be answering those at the end. And for the best experience, close all your applications and chat applications, just so you can, view the webinar well. Now, for today, we're really excited to present to you two of I guess the most transformational things that we're seeing in the space. And one is what Google is actually doing to transform businesses and how Front is integrating that in customers like yourself. And the bulk of the presentation is going to be presented by by our search engineer here. That's James Murphy, and he's going to be presenting about transforming the value of your business information through Google search. So before we get just getting started and getting right into it, I wanted to cover the three key trends that we see in transforming businesses. Now, an IBM Global CEO study done in 2012 has shown that 71% of CEOs today see technology change as the number one external force that could most impact their organization over the next 3 to 5 years. What that means is that technology-led business models are now mainstream, and technology is fundamentally rewiring business models. And what do I mean by that? Now, it means that you're probably seeing globalization as a trend, social media as a trend. You're seeing and means delivery is being done in different parts of the world. So business models are actually changing, and I guess probably the most the what we're seeing here is things like the music industry has been hit by this technological change where you no longer go to a CD store to buy things like your HMV and your Sanity. You're seeing iTunes has totally changed that business model. You're seeing Amazon, the bookstore, actually totally changed the model of the way you used to go into a store like Angus and Robertson and Dymocks previously. People are now consuming it on their Kindles and their iPads. So technology is disrupting the way that traditional business models work. So that's our key trend there. The second key trend that we're seeing is that people want to work the way they live. So we're seeing that 53% of workers are now using personal devices and apps to do their job. We're getting so attached to our devices, as and Gen Y is hitting the workforce, I guess, being more prevalent now. You're using smartphones, you're using tablets, and people want to have the technology that they use at home and the experience that they use at home. They want to be able to have that at work now. And basically, the work environment. What we're seeing is that it's playing catch up. And the third trend that we're seeing is that the nature of work itself is changing. What do I mean by that? Previously, you used to sit at your desk and almost solitary environment in your cubicle, push out pieces of work singularly by yourself. You'll have an inbox and you'd have an outbox, and essentially you're pushing out that piece of work. What we're seeing is that more and more, to put any useful information out there, you have to collaborate. And collaboration is being a key trend and key part of all businesses now. So what do I mean by collaboration? It means that in you might be talking to a global team now, a virtual team that may be in Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, India, the United States, and your needs to push out any useful information is to collaborate with that team and bring it to them. So just to summarize, we're seeing tech. So just to summarize, we're seeing technology leading business change. People want to work the way they live, and work itself is changing. So you're probably asking yourself, well, how does this actually tie into Google, and what does that actually mean? What's Google doing in the space, and what does that mean for your business? Well, we've actually tied that down to 4 pillars, and I'll go through them in a bit more detail. But essentially, people want to work the way they live. Secondly, they want high velocity collaboration. They want to collaborate in real time. And fourthly, they want to share information and basically get the knowledge in their enterprise um, um, in an easy format. Okay, so and I'll drill down that a bit further. So, what does it mean to for you to work? What does that mean for you to work anywhere at any time? So I'll give you an example. This morning, coming into this presentation, I was in North Stratfield. I caught a train in North Stratfield. I was on my Samsung device. So before I actually got into the office on the train, I was checking my emails, and I'm sure many of you may be doing the same thing. I was looking at my email. By the time I got to the office, I already checked about 20 emails. I knew exactly what I needed to do for the day. And so when I reached the office, um, the most productive space that I have is the desktop. And so, why? Because I've got a bigger keyboard, I've got a bigger screen, and that's when I push out most of my work. Then when I get home, what we're seeing as a key trend is people got their iPads at home, they're consuming entertainment, they're watching YouTube, they may be playing on Facebook, LinkedIn, but they also do work from there as well. And someone might be pinging them, and they need to have that information, and they want to seamlessly have all their bookmarks. They want to have all that information just the way that they consume it at home, at work as well. And that's got to be across all devices on a single platform there. What we're seeing as well is high velocity collaboration. Now, what does that mean? It really means that how many times, and I'll put the question out to you, how many times have you wanted somebody to just put maybe 2 lines or 3 lines in a document? It may be your general manager, it's usually someone who you report to, just give you the okay or put 2 lines in a document that make all the difference so that the rest of the group can actually continue their work. With this example here that you see, you could have, Mike Chang in Paris. He could be editing the document on his mobile device, and the rest of the people could be on their desktops, and that allows them to work seamlessly across continents and in real time there. And that's being a real key driver. So there's no version control issues, there's no cutting and pasting. It's everybody's working in real time on the same document with the ability to chat and resolve issues on the fly. Just imagine how useful that could be for you in your environment there. We're seeing this also as a key trend in the finance operations area, with many finance departments being outsourced to places like India and Malaysia and Singapore. Um, uh, it is a way where you can collaborate with 6 7 people and be able to plan and track together in real time what your forecast could be or your payroll could be. And because largely these things depend on so many stakeholders within the business. So real time communication. This is really taking the I mean, although email is fantastic, right? And that's really transformed the way all of us do business in the last 10 years. We still lack some of the understanding that brings the soft skills to play, and through the written word. And when just the nuances of the way someone moves their eyes, being able to see somebody face to face, seeing them laugh, gesture, smile, with more virtual teams coming into play, people working from home, you want to be able to see who you're talking to. And that's where you're able to meet face to face from wherever you are on any device. And when it comes to, yeah, well, I guess we've touched on this point, working across continents like you're in the same room, essentially, seeing them face to face, working on a document, it's fantastic. Okay, now this is an area I'm really excited about, the cross company sharing. Cross company sharing is where you have the ability to kind of create those serendipitous moments. Okay, so if I have to go back and explain how does innovation actually happen? Most of the time, it happens after a meeting. Yeah, you may be having a coffee with a work colleague. You may be in a breakout room, and you're in a relaxed environment. And it's usually the cross pollination between where you may be. It's a cross pollination of ideas. So if I'm in sales, and finance might have an idea or have an input on an account I'm working on, sometimes that doesn't actually translate when you take that experience online, that work environment or that virtual community online. What Google does here is actually create that social experience and those cross pollination of ideas in an online platform, and that we call Google Plus. Um, how do we do that? It means that I've got a profile online. People know what my job role is. I can post things, and the whole company or my user base can actually have a look at that. And just say I post something on an account I'm working on, and say, "Look, would love your input if working on ABC company." Um, or do you guys know anybody that's worked for ABC company? Have any of you worked for ABC company? You've got the finance department able to say, yes, I've worked there. This is the type of the culture there. This is the points you might be hitting. And it's really able to bring out the thought leadership from there. So I guess what we're basically saying is Google enables business transformation on all levels, from a technology perspective, from a business perspective, and from a culture perspective. And like anything, you'd expect management and control from an enterprise level. That's exactly what Fronde and Google provides, and the scale and infrastructure as well. So we can scale indefinitely, security systems, and the rest of it. We can definitely take that offline and speak to you about your particular needs there. And you know, we're finding that many large Australian customers have already, when you look at this slide, you can see that the Australian users are picking it up very quickly as well. So now I wanted to introduce you to my very close colleague, James Murphy. He's our search engineer here. He's worked in the search space for over 3 years. He's worked with such clients as PwC, Flight Center, Department of Trade and Investment. Kind of working in the search environment for 3 years, it's kind of like dog years in essence. He's got a lot of experience in the space, and there's probably not many people as qualified as him to speak about it. So we're in good company, and without further ado, I'm going to transfer you over to James Murphy. James, over to you.
Thank you, Kresant. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to echo Kresant's comments earlier. Thank you very much for attending this webinar this morning at 9 o'clock on a Friday morning. So we do really appreciate it. I'm going to get straight into it. Find what you need, the Google Search Appliance. I think find what you need is a statement that has become very predominant in our lives on a day-to-day basis. When we think of the consumer world and what we're doing, finding what we need is paramount rather than browsing for what we need. So the best tools are being built and used for by consumers. Over the last few years, a major reversal has happened in technology, and I think that's technology has to be agile, up to date, fast, quick time to market for a lot of business for users, and it's user adoption is almost driving the technology now. Where in the past, technology would have been driving user adoption, but users are tech savvy and taking that environment that they're used to at home and bringing that into the workplace. You find that it creates a lot of, I guess, there's a difference between what we have in our day-to-day lives and the difference what we have in our work environment. So employees are wasting a lot of time looking for the right information. We've got some figures here. We've got 25% of an employee's time is spent looking for information. 50% of people need to search 5 or more sources. So that's 5 separate information sources, and that could be anything from a file share to your outbox, or I beg your pardon, your inbox in your mail client, a document management system, your CRM, whether that be Salesforce or SAP for ERP, you're finding that there's no one single source or one stop shop for searching across all that information. And then at the last point, 38% of time is spent unsuccessfully searching and recreating content. That's a lot of time. So that's intangible dollars. Nothing that you can see, but it's in terms of its wasted effort. Pretty much wasting time reinventing the wheel. When recreating a document, it makes no sense. Employees' expectations, again, going back to work have changed. And this is, again, taking in from the consumer world where we use Google.com and bringing that into the enterprise environment. And certainly I know in my day-to-day job when I'm looking for information about something or somebody, certainly being an engineer, I have, I search for a lot of information around, from a technical perspective. I use Google.com. It's the first place that I go to. And I'm singing its virtues because I've used it for years. In the past we've used Alta Vista, web crawler, and I can sure a lot of us probably remember the first time we used Google.com. It was a nirvana moment in essence, and I think we expect that when we have that in that way of working on the outside, we kind of expect that on the inside. And as I say, this is certainly how I start to work or how I construct my day when I've got an issue or something to resolve. I start with Google. Now, it becomes prohibitive when I can't use that environment across my organization's information. So what we have is that my expectations have changed. I would if I was a sales manager, I want to see what my sales forecast for this week is. But I can't get that information at my fingertips. I've got to search in our CRM and compile a report or check out my beg your pardon my spreadsheet of information and I compile a report of that. Being an engineer, I might need to refer to a colleague of mine, a peer that is far more experienced in, say, in Google Apps, for example, rather than Google Search, and I need to interface with him based upon a certain project we're working on. And I might need to find out where Bob is in my organization, which is quite large. There's no means, or apart from searching an Active Directory system, again, which is a separate system I need to go out to. I can't just type it into a one-stop shop and get my information presented to me. And then finally, what is my leave balance? I think around this time of year we're taking leave off for Christmas, and leave balance. I've got to browse through, should I say, not even search, but browse through payment slips that I have in my email. That's how it's delivered to us. So it's I got to open every single PDF, check what my balance is, and figure out from there. So that's quite difficult. Instead of having it right in front of me at my fingertips. So what is this all? What am I getting at here? Well, it's 61% growth in enterprise data every year. That's information overload. We're bombarded by information on a daily basis. I mean, as Kresant was alluding to earlier on, we are checking our email first thing in the morning. Um, when we begin our day, I'm sitting on the bus. I'm checking mail. I'm referring to Google.com for information that I might need to pull into that mail. I might be checking my email on my Samsung Galaxy S3, or I might be, I might want to respond to it on a document, and I'll open my Chromebook and edit the document. Um, so it's this constant bombardment of information, and you're trying to just cut through the noise to get to what you want to do to be more productive. So this is where the Google Search Appliance comes in. This is this one-stop shop. This is a Google Search Appliance that you see here in front of you. It's a beautiful thing to behold. It's a one-stop shop that can give you relevant outcome from any source on any device. And this last point, simplicity at scale, I guess refers to the size of that machine that you see in front of you there. Relevant outcome. What does this mean? I have an intent to find something, and I want the insight straight away. So the relevant outcome be, for example, it learns from everybody who uses it. So this is taken from Google.com. It's got its ranking system depending upon whether that document is relevant or not. As you can see, the results in March when searching for federal regulation brief in this example here, the most important document might not have been present at top until the device learns from people using it. This is actually a more relevant document. I'll place it at top. This can also be influenced by a feature called self-learning score, which I can quickly discuss in a demo for you hereafter. From any source. So again, alluding back to the point I made earlier, 50% of users search across 5 separate info or data systems of some sort. And these users might be in a call center, a claims department, or data warehousing, ERP. The need to search is everywhere. It's across all of these different either divisions or business units or different organizations in general. So true universal search is, I guess, it's in the blood of a search appliance. It can. These are some of the examples of what these five disparate systems could be. You could have a file share, so something sitting on a Windows share, or you might have even something on enterprise social. You might be using Salesforce Chatter, or you might be having your CRM system is within Salesforce, or your content management system is in Documentum or Objective, or even SharePoint. A lot of documents have been pushed into SharePoint. And my point here is that the search appliance can seamlessly search across all of these disparate systems, presenting you with, again, this one-stop shop for information, to have it right at your fingertips, to produce those results that you're used to with Google.com, giving you an answer within 0.34 of a millisecond. Instantaneously, you find the information rather than actually browsing around trying to find that needle in a haystack. On any device, so this respects the user interface. It's device agnostic. It respects the user interface or the form factor, beg your pardon, from a handset to a tablet to a Google Nexus 7 to a Chromebook to a Chrome Pixel. So what I expect and I get on one device, I should really get the same experience on another device, and it is true of that. Simplicity at scale. So as you see, this device is it's a 2U unit. It's it takes up very little space in a rack. The G100 can search up to 20 million documents. And scaling up to, again, a unit that's not, no difference in size. The G500, more grunt, more power, 100 million documents. That's a phenomenal amount of search and information that we can search across. Huge. Here's an example of a client that we've worked with that's gone Google and using the GSA. So Steve Weston here quoted, the group technology director quoted as saying, the GSA has fundamentally changed our business and capabilities. Its use is a core part of how we work and has put us firmly ahead of our competitors. So that's a pretty compelling statement right there. Basically the way their employees are using it, Hayes, a recruitment firm, they are bombarded by, as you can imagine, people in the market that are looking for a job and resumes. And of course, these resumes can become old and stale, and information, again, a ton of information within these resumes. These representatives that want to find the right, employee for their client, they want to have the most relevant person appear at the top of a search results, and they're using the GSA to achieve that. So it cuts through all the noise of what the most relevant person is and produces, top dog that they can present to their client as probably the most qualified person. Now, that's enough about the appliance itself from a presentation point of view. I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of what we can do here now. Just let me explain that this is an external demonstration. It's on a site for a university in New Zealand that we've worked with. We've implemented this for them. It's a beautiful demonstration that I give. It brings in a lot of elements. It brings in user interface. It brings in key matching. It really shows the power of the search appliance in a nice and easy package. The appliance does work internally and is secure internally. So let's not forget that the appliance is predominantly used from an internal point of view, but some companies are using it for external. For example, Commonwealth Bank are using it again for external. Searching across their site. But as I say, you can have separate devices that can work internally with your content management systems and so on and so forth. The reason why we're doing an external demonstration here is we're for security reasons more so than anything else, and the content to show relevant content rather than just showing some documents that contain nothing that's relevant. So here we are with the Victoria AC.NZ site, and as you can see on the top right hand side here, we've got search. Now, they've chosen to place it in the top right hand side here, and this is, learning has shown us that this is actually an area where people are normally gravitate towards for a search bar. So I'm just going to search in for engineering here. Pretty easy search, and the results that it's going to bring back, I'll show you now. We've got this. First of all, I'll speak to the UI, the user interface. It's a very nice, clean user interface. It adheres to the brand. There's a slight bit of googliness, and then you can notice it probably in the way that outlay of results are coming back. But in general, the brand of Victoria University has been respected here, and this is basically we're providing XML content. They're skinning it with some custom style sheets, XSLT, and presenting in a beautiful form for themselves here. So this, I'm going to speak to this first box at the top here. Try this, browse engineering courses. So this is what we would call in on the appliance a a one box, and this is the term for it. Basically, what it is, it's real time information, and it goes off, pulls the information, presents it, doesn't take up any part of the license, and finds the most relevant and real time information. So, for example, stock trades would be another example that you would see in Google.com, or when you search for airline flight information. So they're what are called one boxes. You want to present them in a result format from a search appliance, but you don't want to crawl and index them because they're content that's constantly updating. Going on to the areas where we've actually crawled and indexed, we've got the Faculty of Engineering. So that's the most relevant result that's come back. We've got a Bachelor of Engineering, so I can find out about courses and so on and so forth. But as you notice now on the right hand side, I'm going to speak to how we can guide the user to find the information that they want. So we produce some results, beg your pardon, and now we're going to help them drill down to find those results. So these points at the top are these collections: web pages, people, documents, and courses. These are separate, disparate systems that we spoke to earlier on. People, for example, if I click on people, this is searching across a Active Directory environment, or it could be even some form of um, people, whether it be LDAP or whether it's a SharePoint environment. So as you can see here, we've got Dr. Kieran Moore. He's a lecturer at the School of Engineering and Computer Science. Dr. Will Brown, a senior lecturer. So it's presenting these results instantaneously. I can see who's involved in that faculty. If I go back to everything, we can drill down by document type. So I can choose the file type to be a PDF. And this is just, again, narrowing that search, helping the user, coercing them along the path to helping them find the right information. So that's just a brief overview of what we can do with the search appliance. It's by no means a very complete overview, but it basically, again, it goes back to providing these key points we spoke to earlier on: relevant outcome from any source, on any device. I guess I'm using my machine here, and the simplicity at scale. So you can imagine that these guys would have a stack of information here that they'd want to search across. So I'd love to be able to come and give you guys a demonstration, individual demonstration, and show you some more information of what we can achieve with this appliance. But for now, I think we've probably overloaded you with information. But I'm going to hand back over to Kresant to wrap up our webinar today. Thanks, guys, for your attention. Cheers.
Yeah, thank you very much, James. I learned a little bit more as well myself there, actually. But guys, you're probably wondering what Fronde actually has to do with Google, and why not just contact Google yourself. What we really do is we're in the business of business cloud design and integration. So what you've heard today, we know that these technologies may challenge the way you currently do business. Perhaps it challenges your business models. Perhaps you're facing competitive pressures, and you've got to change those business models. It's going to challenge the way you think about technology, and it may challenge the culture and your people. But I guess remember that without challenge and change, there's no progress and there's no innovation. And that's exactly where Fronde comes in. That's what we're here for. We've been in this business for 20 years. We've grown up out of New Zealand as an application development and system integration company. We have over 350 employees in the business, making us one of the largest system integration and application partners in the space. And we've ramped up our capability here in Australia in the last year. And I guess probably we'll be making much more of an impact coming 2014. So just know that we are absolutely here to hold your hand through the process. As you can see, we've dealt with. I mean, when you look at that slide and you can see Google Enterprise, you can see NetSuite, Salesforce, Amazon Web Services, adaptive planning. These are all technologies which have disrupted business models and changed the way we think about technology in business. So we understand that you probably do need somebody like ourselves to kind of walk you through the process. So reach out to us, and I guess that leads me to my final point. Um, Oh, well, not just yet, actually. Reach out to us. Essentially, is what I'm asking. What I'm saying. And I guess we'll take a few questions now before we conclude. So I'm just opening up the floor to any questions. Let's just have a look. So I'll just give you a few seconds there to gather your thoughts.
Okay, we've got a question coming in. I think this is one for me, Kresant. That's a question coming in from Greg. Um, does the search appliance respect the security models within the environment that it's searching across? That's a very, very good question. Um, so, with the content that we saw with the Victoria University, beg your pardon, the Victoria University demonstration, the appliance was presented with content that, number one, they only wanted to show on the web. Number two, um, they've obviously, because it's not user based, it's presenting that content on a almost like an anonymous basis. But let's say we take the appliance internally now. So the appliance is transparent and represents the user that is searching through it. So we refer to the federated identity management system um, for that user. For example, so we can integrate with LDAP, we can integrate with Active Directory, and what you're basically, in essence, are you're will only be allowed to see what you are normally allowed to see on a daily basis anyway. And that essentially covers off the security aspect in terms of we can NTLM, Kerberos. So basically, it's think of it as a transparent application that is acting on your behalf and will only present what you are normally allowed to see anyway. So it's a very, very good question there.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm just conscious of the time. Yeah, just conscious of the time, but if we could just let's just move to the next slide there, James. Yeah. So I guess look, we've presented this information at a like a eagle eye view, so to speak. And you've seen really high level, and I understand that for some of you, it is a lot to take in such a short frame of mind. But we've really been excited. Both James and I were really looking forward to this webinar, and we're really excited to share this information with you. We would love to speak with you further if that's what you'd like after this, after seeing what you've heard. And we do know going into Christmas, it's a big ask as well. So, coming into the last days for 2013, I can't believe we've actually been here so fast. Yeah, let's arrange an appointment. So there's our details. Feel free to link us on LinkedIn, contact us directly, and arrange an appointment in the new year. So contact us now so we can book it in for the new year. And once again, I just want to acknowledge all of you for being on the call on a Friday morning, running into Christmas. I do know that it is a busy time for you. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure for us, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Yeah, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you, your family, and your businesses. Cheers.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you.